Oh, hey Archons, what's going on? Sorry, I was just reminiscing about some tragedy that happened this week on my stream where I misplayed so hard that it caused the rest of the game to cascade into nothing but despair and regret. If I could do a help from future self on this episode, it would be about this topic. It will come forth in the card of the week, and I will regale you in full length this tale of woe, and that's how I'm going to actually kick off the episode. This week's topic is going to be that you know what, I thought about how I play decks, and I had an interesting discussion with Quick Draw, who was also from my stream this past week in a very funny way. And so that's what I'm going to be talking about, is the way I play decks, and I'm starting to think about it in different ways now because we are approaching a turning point in many ways. So more of that to come, but first let's get into that card of the week that I talked about. So the card of the week this week is, of course, the Great Faust. Faust the Great. This card is great for so many reasons. One, I think that it is now extremely potent in the world of Dark Tidings because there's a lot of ways to capture, and there's a lot of fun capture things in the House of Saurians, particularly Spoils of Battle. I think is a great addition to Faust the Great. This card is amazing, yeah, and this card hosed me so freaking hard. Okay, for those of you who don't know about Faust the Great, it's a Saurian creature, 4 power, that says your opponent's keys cost +1 for each friendly creature with Ember on it. Play, you may exalt a friendly creature. So here's the story of woe. I got so excited that I was about to take out my opponent's Faust and a whole bunch of other creatures, and there was so much Ember distributed amongst them, and I was going to be able to tertiate 2 creatures. Plus I had Ostracize, which means they lose 1 Ember and you purge a creature. And I got so excited, I was like, oh yeah, I'm just going to get rid of all these. I played tertiate first because they had 4 creatures, which allowed me to take out 2. And I chose the 2 dinos, that was Faust and something else, and then I ostracized a Zalvador. Okay, as soon as I did it, I was like, oh my goodness, I should have purged the Faust. Lo and behold, 2 exhumes later, no, they were Grim Reminders. 2 Grim Reminders later, or Stirring Graves, something like that, I'm losing after being in such a strong winning position, like literally up 2 keys. My opponent came back and destroyed me, all thanks to Faust, and that one moment of not purging the Faust totally hosed me. And this strictly goes down to me moving too quickly. If I had taken a moment to recall the deck list and remember that there was the recursion from discard, I would have known that Faust had to go. And the opponent proceeded, I think it was Mabluffin, my weekly stream opponent, it seems, proceeded to then just absolutely wreck me with a great board, tons of Ember spread out. Keys cost like 14, and I was creating Ember because I was still forging. Oh, you know what? I don't think I was up 2 keys. I don't even think I was at 1 key yet when this happened. But I was bursting like crazy, and then the Faust came back and started taxing me and then preventing me from even forging because I just couldn't deal with the board. Oh, it felt so bad. I was literally thinking about that misplay the rest of the night because it was so strong. So folks, slow down. If you're going to be able to purge something, you need to actually think about it. If you can only purge 1 card, that's one thing. But if you got multiple removal happening in 1 turn, really think about how you're utilizing things like that and what you're going to remove and why. And if you have more permanent ways of removing, i.e. purge, take the time to do it. I still can't get over this. Like, I'm actually like this could have been the whole episode, is just talking about this week of Key Thoughts, because I still can't believe that happened. I love that Faust is a painter, by the way. Like, I don't know if anyone has really taken a close look, but yeah, Faust is like painting a mural. Oh, such a great card. I love Faust. All right, on to the topic of the week. So I would say probably for at least the past year during the pandemic, my KeyForge priorities have greatly shifted. I really enjoy playing competitive tournaments IRL, and since that has not been a possibility for the past year and a half-ish, I stopped prioritizing getting to know certain decks and going for variety is the spice of life. That also coincided with me really ramping up my content creation on YouTube just to provide entertainment in the form of KeyForge for people during the pandemic as well. These two things kind of went hand in hand. And so every week when I stream, I'm not streaming the same decks over and over again. I'm streaming almost entirely new decks every week, with maybe the exception of one or two at most that I've brought back to play with a little bit more because I really enjoy it. Sometimes it has to do with I'm opening so many decks that I just have that much to play through in the week because I vow to play every deck I open. And so that's how this is working out. And the other thing is that I am in a position where, you know what? Variety is the spice of life. I've said it many times. And so I find that I'm not playing a ton of decks over and over again. And now I think I may have to shift that. That either means playing more KeyForge outside of just my streams and taking the time during those times to really hone in some decks. Or I'm going to be putting out a little less content of new decks. And we're going to be visiting some things and concepts maybe in the YouTube that are going to be probably new series in a way. I've had some requests for certain things of going a little bit deeper into things, so I think I may take advantage of that. And I just noticed I love playing decks, just not over and over and over again in the 100 plus. Like usually I think I'm capping usually at the 20 to 30 range is the average I'll usually do for a deck, and I feel like I know it quite well at that point. But I don't have any decks over 60. I have between 50 and 60 are my two top decks, which are also Vault Tour decks that I brought when I went to Triad Vegas. So I was talking with Quick Draw about this, which was a funny story. He got disconnected in the middle of my stream the other night, last week on Thursday. And then we had a nice chat afterwards. He reached out in Discord to apologize, which was really top notch. That's really stand up a way to conduct yourself. I thought he may have rage quit on me, but no, that was not the case. We had a nice discussion about our play styles, and we both play this way of liking to play a lot of decks and experiencing the variety that KeyForge has to offer, because there is so much variety, and every deck you open is going to be a new experience for the most part. And for me personally, I like the puzzle aspect of KeyForge, where you're figuring out what makes it hum, unlocking the secrets and the most efficient lines of play within that deck. And I find that that's where I get my most enjoyment out of KeyForge. But we are now in a position where going back to IRL play is going to be very much a thing. So I really need to stop doing the KeyForge content the way I have and kind of pivot into doing or spending more time on TCO playing those decks that I already have and I love and I think have potential to really do some interesting things. I think it's going to be quite interesting to go back to IRL play and have both Dark Tidings and Mass Mutations being played essentially IRL for the first time in probably an abundance. And I imagine that will be the majority of what we will see when you go back to IRL play in most cases. I think there will be some players who are just real hungry and are going to play that top that they've had for a while. But I think most people are going to be playing stuff that they have not got to play in their local metas and see what comes kind of out the other side. So I'm really excited to have that experience. I know it's very soon going to be happening for me here in Vancouver, and I'm sure the same is going to be said for most of you out there. The size of our play groups may not be as big, but for various reasons, people not wanting to come back right away, maybe stores restricting, but it will start to happen. And so therefore we're going to get to see some of these cool decks. I really want to play some casual nights, just bring out decks, have a lot of fun. I think that's going to be a lot of good times there. I don't know if I care about chain bounds that much right now. But yeah, so that sums it up for this week. I appreciate everyone's support. There will be no Key Thoughts next week because I will have played almost no KeyForge for as far as I can tell right now. Maybe there will be a surprise, but right now I'm not planning to have that happen. And there will be no stream this week either. I will be out of town, going to go visit some family. And yeah, so there's less videos this week. There'll be a couple videos next week that you'll get to see, finishing off some French stuff and the Mass Mutation decks that I have not got to showcase yet, which are really cool. So there'll be at least 2 videos next week in the early week. And if I get back on time, maybe I'll make a third. So yeah, there will be lots of stuff to stream. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this episode. This was an interesting topic for me, especially talking about Faust and that idea of really thinking through those moments, because they can have a huge impact. Sometimes when you say you misplay, that's like an efficiency misplay. Sometimes you misplay and you've actually altered the course, the way the game can go. And that is what happened to me. So thanks so much for tuning in, folks. As always, may your ember never be stolen and your keys forged promptly. Have a good one.